Love in Hollywood often burns bright then fades, but this story keeps glowing in the dark. It is a haunting bond between Diane Keaton and Al Pacino, two icons forever linked to The Godfather, two hearts that never reached the same beat. Keaton, sharp and fearless, fell so hard for Pacino that she even asked him to marry her. Pacino, with his stormy eyes and restless spirit, walked away without a sound, leaving only questions behind. They once shared a roof, whispered private promises, and cried for each other, yet no ring ever sealed their fate.
But I have to say now, dare I say it, forgive me, you're an artist, you're a great artist. I remember it and I love it, and I love you forever. Thank you.
No ceremony, no farewell, just an unusual friendship that still survives. If the grace of Diane Keaton has ever inspired you, or Pacino's intense stare once pulled you in, press 1 in the comments and dive with us into the truth behind the glare. Here lies a love that never wore a name, a split that never truly closed. How deep was Keaton's heartbreak? Why did Pacino, the man who once said, "I love you forever," let her slip away? To solve that mystery, we must travel back, long before their first hello. We need to meet the children who later became legends, because their early years shaped every kiss and every goodbye. Diane was born in Los Angeles in a strict Catholic house, ruled by quiet rules and steady routines. Her father worked as a civil engineer, while her mother, Dorothy, once won a local beauty crown, then traded the stage for life in the kitchen. Young Diane watched a bright woman dim her own spotlight and swore she would never shrink behind a stove. She chose freedom, bold clothes, and ideas that scare many men, yet a hidden bruise remained. Deep inside, she still craved unshakable love, a partner who would stay when the applause stopped. She dreamed of a safe home in a wild, artistic world, and she thought she saw that promise in Pacino's gaze. Pacino's path could not be more different. He arrived in East Harlem, poor and tiny, only 2 when his parents split. His mother, Rose, raised him alone in a cramped Bronx walk-up, juggling part-time jobs while he chased movies in cheap theaters. Pacino found devotion only on the stage, the single thing he never betrayed. School expelled him, day jobs bored him. He slept in parks just to keep acting, and every hardship toughened his skin. He grew gentle but distant, charming but cautious, terrified that any bond would steal the freedom that kept him alive. One soul ready to hold on, the other trained to run, both lonely, both in love, and both unable to love without pain. When they met on the set of The Godfather in 1971, sparks flew louder than any gun in the script. Cameras rolled, producers panicked, and whispers spread that the studio wanted Pacino fired. He battled doubt every day, and Keaton watched it all, feeling a pull she could not explain. She later confessed, "I was crazy about him. He was funny, endless with words, strangely handsome, half-lost child, half-wild genius, and she could not look away." Pacino stayed quiet in public, yet crew stories say his eyes never left Keaton between takes. There was more than casual attraction, more than work chemistry. It felt like gravity drawing 2 distant planets. Their secret romance started in silence, grew to The Godfather Part 2, and lingered into Part 3. Throughout the 70s, they broke up then circled back, as if elastic bands tied their hearts. With time, Keaton realized this was no short crush. It was a gentle obsession that held her for 20 long years. She waited for an answer that never arrived, because Pacino remained the same mysterious wanderer. He kept his depth, his allure, and his distance, turning their story into a chase where Keaton always ran after the dream. Their bond never exploded in public view. They skipped red carpet poses and formal announcements. Yet the connection endured over 2 restless decades. After the first film, they started dating behind closed doors, slipping through New York nights unseen. Friends recall quiet dinners, long walks, tearful arguments at dawn, then sudden disappearances that confused everyone. Keaton once reached her limit and proposed, hoping to anchor the man she adored. Pacino froze, fearing the walls were closing in, and the silence that followed felt colder than any breakup line. She cried. He vanished for weeks, then returned as if nothing had happened, and the cycle repeated. Each reunion reopened old wounds until the scars ran too deep. By the late 80s, their love had become legend inside the industry, whispered in hallways yet never printed on headlines. They filmed scenes with dangerous chemistry, then drifted apart once the camera stopped. Keaton longed for peace, Pacino feared a cage, and both paid the price in sleepless nights. The most painful truth was that Pacino knew her devotion, yet he still could not change. Years passed. Other relationships came and went, but their odd friendship survived every storm. They could laugh together, reminisce, even support each other's work, yet the ghost of that unfinished romance always lingered. Reporters kept asking why these two never sealed the deal, and Keaton finally answered with a bittersweet smile. She said Pacino gave her lessons in love and in heartbreak that no film school could match. Pacino later admitted he had lost many precious moments by protecting his freedom too fiercely, but he never named names. Between the lines, everyone heard the regret. Today, their story stands as a warning that timing can break even the strongest bond. One needed certainty, the other breathed through uncertainty, and neither could bend enough. Still, they share a gentle respect that time cannot erase, proof that love can mutate instead of dying. A romance without a wedding, a breakup without a final goodbye, a friendship that holds every memory and every scar. Heartache never truly stopped haunting their off-screen pauses, and its echo still rattles through Hollywood today. During every break from Pacino, Diane Keaton tried new romances, living with Woody Allen for a spell, laughing with Warren Beatty, even stepping out with Mel Gibson. Yet one name burned through every page of her diary, Pacino. She once declared, "The Godfathers, all three of them, were about one thing, Al." Those words rolled from her lips like a drumbeat, and they never stopped pounding. At the same time, Pacino kept dodging promises. His habit of half-stepping toward love and sprinting away stayed ironclad, and each bond, even the one with Keaton, shattered like glass on the studio floor. They split, stitched things back, split again, believing the next reunion might heal everything, and insiders whispered that only Keaton had the rare mix of patience, calm, and fierce devotion to steady Pacino when his nerves crackled, wise enough to skip pressure, brave enough to hope for a miracle she feared was imaginary. The late 1980s turned into a Roman dream, Keaton and Pacino renting a grand villa while filming The Godfather Part 3. And every crew member murmured that a ring would surely appear beneath those Mediterranean stars. Instead, fate flipped the script. Keaton laid down an ultimatum, marriage or goodbye, and Pacino drifted into the midnight air without a single promise, leaving behind a hush colder than marble statues. She spiraled into depression, therapy becoming her second home while doctors told her that her father carried a brain tumor, and Pacino vanished into fresh films, his back always toward yesterday. Looking back, Keaton sighed, "I kept asking things of him. I wanted more. I wanted him to love me the way I loved him." That confession stings, showing how loving too loudly can drive another soul away. If their bond were music, it would be a violin solo searching for an orchestra that never arrives. One melody floats forever while the other slips into silence. Through every chapter, Keaton leaned forward, dreaming and planning. Yet Pacino, grateful but rooted to the spot, watched affection roll by like taxis he refused to hail. She called him a brilliant lost soul, dazzling and magnetic, crowded with riddles, the most beautiful face she had ever seen, yet praise alone could not hold a heart built to roam. Pacino avoided marriage not because love was missing, but because he doubted any final scene could keep him, and Keaton later reflected, "I always picked the wrong guys. I needed as much as they needed me, and that's never a formula for a lasting relationship." Her honesty proves that caring too fiercely can carve the deepest bruises. Pacino raised 4 children with 3 women, yet no ring ever marked those unions, and friends confessed that he saw vows as a cage, fearful he could not love in the way greeting card described. Across 20 years, Keaton never captured the restless man she adored, and Pacino never guarded a partner's heart long enough to build shelter, so both walked away carrying different emptiness. At the final refusal, Keaton poured her ache into characters, playing women who sparkle yet hide lonely corners, while Pacino dragged his hollow echo onto giant stages, still chasing new truths his 80s as lights flicker on and off. Their tale closed without cheating, lawsuits, or divorce papers. Only one soul afraid of chains, and another finally tired of waiting. Yet after the applause cooled, a single riddle remained. Who truly tasted more life once love crumbled? After the last split, Keaton embraced singleness for more than 35 years, bravely adopting daughter Dexter and son Duke in her 50s, and she later confessed, "No one ever asked me to marry them. Maybe they realized I'm not the easiest person to live with." She also proclaimed, "I'm really glad I didn't get married. I don't think it would have been right for me." Her clarity rings like church bells. Without a spouse, she triumphed, earning an Oscar, clutching Golden Globes, saluted by the American Film Institute, proving a woman can soar alone and still keep her humor and iron-strong self-belief. Pacino, the man she once begged to stay, equally skipped wedding aisles. His longest bond with Beverly D'Angelo brought twins Anton and Olivia in 1999, while other romances from Martha Keller to Lucilla Pollak, and most recently Nora Al-Fala, mother of his baby born in 2023, drifted like scenes without final edits. Asked why he never wed, Pacino murmured, "I avoid doors that might lead to pain." That soft line floats in the mind like smoke. Keaton chose solitude. Pacino chose distance. Yet only one wept at a therapist's chair over a love that never fully breathed, and only one beneath bright theater lamps once declared, "I love you forever." The true victor, if prizes even matter, is the soul that kept hold of itself. Yet the person who bled more was the one who dared to love louder. Keaton later revealed that therapy became her sanctuary, a space where she dissected every glance and every silence, searching for clues to why devotion could not anchor him. And each breakthrough felt like tearing open an old postcard that still smelled of Rome. She channeled those insights into memoirs and interviews, teaching millions that heartbreak can turn into fuel, proving laughter and pain can share the same stage without canceling each other. Pacino pushed deeper into roles that mirrored his restless drive, from cops drowning in regret to gangsters haunted by choices, and critics whispered that his power sprang from a real-life vacuum he could never fill. Backstage hands noticed that between takes he often stood alone, eyes far away, as if speaking with someone invisible, and they guessed he was talking to the ghost of the life he never built. Meanwhile, Keaton turned her Los Angeles home into a haven of sunlight, music, and noisy family dinners, showing a single parent can craft warmth and stability, and friends report her laughter bouncing off those walls every evening. The industry still debates which path carried more joy, the woman who traded fairy tale romance for self-made peace, or the man who kept roaming, forever hungry for sparkle yet wary of roots. In the loud, fast-moving world of Hollywood, real love rarely survives the spotlight. But Diane Keaton and Al Pacino, they turn heartbreak into something strange and beautiful, a connection that never broke, even when their romance did. They weren't lovers anymore. They weren't just friends either. They were the only two people who truly knew what that chapter of their lives meant. No one else could ever understand it. And the wildest part? Their bond stayed steady, like no real goodbye had ever happened. In 2017, at Diane Keaton's Lifetime Achievement Award ceremony from the American Film Institute, Pacino walked onto the stage. Almost 30 years had passed since they last held each other close. But in that moment, it was like no time had gone by. He spoke about the little things, the time she made him laugh before interviews, their memories in Rome, the behind-the-scenes magic only they had shared. And then he paused and said, right there in front of everyone, "I love you forever." Keaton smiled but didn't cry, maybe because she'd already cried enough behind closed doors. You won't see their friendship splashed across the tabloids. No dinner photos, no red carpet hugs. But in interviews, they still speak about each other with warmth that never faded. Keaton once said Pacino had the most beautiful face she had ever known. Pacino described Keaton as a woman like no other, full of surprises, full of life. Maybe when love doesn't survive, friendship becomes the only way to keep someone close. And that's what they chose. Not to hurt each other again, not to pretend the past didn't matter, but to hold a soft space for each other forever. Their love ended, but they never truly said goodbye. What Diane Keaton and Al Pacino shared wasn't just a failed romance. It was a heartbreak that reflected something much bigger, a generational wound. Two brilliant, complicated people, too driven, too independent, too full of scars to bend. Keaton grew up watching her mother, an ambitious woman, sacrifice her dreams to become a housewife. That image stayed with Diane forever. She feared being average. She feared being controlled. But more than anything, she longed to be deeply loved. Pacino came from the opposite world, raised without a father in a rough Bronx neighborhood. He found escape in old movie houses and dusty theaters. Love, to him, felt like a trap, a risk, a threat to his hard-earned freedom. Keaton wanted to build a home. Pacino only wanted space. She once admitted, "I loved Pacino not for who he was, but for what he represented, a lost soul that needed saving." But Pacino never promised to change. He never said love was worth giving up a piece of himself. Art brought them together. But it was also art, their obsession with performance, freedom, and identity, that drove them apart. They both chose their separate roads. Diane became a symbol of strong, single womanhood. She didn't need a man to complete her life. Pacino grew even more distant, more untouchable, a man who belonged only to the screen. Maybe they both always knew the truth deep down. A great love doesn't always walk beside a great career. Some people are meant to love each other deeply, but never meant to stay. They loved with honesty. They waited. They hurt quietly. And still, they went nowhere. There was no wedding, no dramatic reunion. Only one line that would echo forever. "I love you forever." But was it ever really love? Or just a dream only Diane Keaton believed in, while Pacino stayed on the outside? If you propose to someone and they walk away without a word, is that real love? Or a painful mistake? And if decades later, they still speak your name like a soft song, was it love after all? Or just deep regret? They didn't stay together, but they never replaced each other. No one ever made Diane Keaton talk so openly in interviews, not even after living single for more than half her life. And no one ever took Keaton's place in Pacino's heart. Some loves don't need labels. Some stories don't end with weddings. But some wounds don't even have names, because the ending never really came, and the beginning was never fully real. So what do you think? Did Diane Keaton fall for the wrong man? Or did she love the right one? But at the wrong time? If you were in her shoes, would you wait again? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Because maybe love doesn't end when someone walks away. Maybe it begins when you find the strength to keep walking, heart open, scars and all. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next story that hits you right in the heart.